African drama. Tawfiq al-Hakim. Introduction. Tawfiq al-Hakim is assured a prominent place in the history of modern Arabic drama, not only as the founder of modern Egyptian theatre, but also as a major contributor to the development of Arabic literature. Born in 9th October 1898, his enthusiasm for the arts, however, was quickly apparent. He fell in love with the stories of the Arabian Nights, developed a fondness for music. Most significantly, he was taken to watch Romeo and Juliet by the troupe of the famous Egyptian actor Salama Ijazi. Objective. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to make concrete contribution on the text and texture of al-Hakim's dramatic works. Content. Practically barred by his parents to view films in Cairo, al-Hakim instead attended theater performance whenever possible and quickly moved from one spectator to participant. He began by improvising plays with friends and soon started writings. Every Thursday afternoon, a sketch was performed in one of his companions' guest rooms. When the 1919 revolt, the first modern demonstration of Egyptian national consciousness and solidarity, broke out, al-Hakim composed patriotic songs, some of which gained wide currency, before he was arrested and briefly jailed. Having passed the school leaving certificate, al-Hakim bowed to his father's wishes and entered law school in Cairo in 1921. However, he was unable to resist the landmark distraction of his artistic inclinations and failed his first-year exams. Annoyed by his academic failure, his family made him spend the summer improving his French. Ironically, this failure probably helped to shape his development as a writer, for his father arranged for him to study at the Belite School, where he was encouraged to read French literature, written in a simple style. He became familiar with the works of Alphonse Dandart and Anatole France, whom he continued to admire, and with the plays of Alfred de Musset and Prezel Marivans. From this point on, though he successfully completed his law course, his main intellectual interest was the theatre. An exploration into his dramatic works portrays the dexterity in al-Hakim. Fate of a Cockroach, 1973. The play is a searing indictment that extends from Egyptian leaders to the general populace. It is satire of the power-thirsty leaders who think answering to the name of a leader is the real sign of a good leadership. The play begins with a self-proclaimed king of the cockroaches justifying his claim to the throne. According to him, "I was delighted at the length of my whisker. I immediately rose up and challenged all the cockroaches to compare their whisker with mine, and that if it was apparent that mine were the longest, then I should become king over them all." 1973, page 5. According to I.R.F. Gordon, satire set out to deflate the pompous, expose the foolish, and bring down the eye. 2004, page 10. This is exactly what al-Hakim's Fate of a Cockroach attempts to do. The play is also a satire on African leaders who, rather than take constructive steps to solve the problems of the society, dodge the responsibility that go with their position. Everybody excuses himself for not doing anything to solve the problem of the society. The king shifts the task of solving the problems of the ants to the ministers, whom in turn shift it to the learned servants, and the learned servants to the priest. The servant calls it a political problem. The king and the minister calls it a scientific problem. Closely related to this is the playwright's exposure to the leader's inability to provide proper solution to the problems of the society. The politician cannot solve the problems of the society. The religious institutions certainly has no probable solution to the problems. Even science in all its experiments can do nothing about it. According to the servant, in any case, it is an old problem. It does not fall within the province of science or scientists. 1973-6. The leader's suggestion on how to solve the problems. Al-Hakim also condemns the spirit of individualism that pervades the world today. He uses satire to compare human to cockroach. The cockroaches cannot walk and so cannot do anything about the problems of the ants. The society we live in is individualistic. The message seems to be, you are on your own. Nobody is ready to take responsibility for others. The Queen voices this view of the rulers in the society out. It turns the matter into a personal one, so that he needs not bother himself about the decisive solution which everyone awaits from you. 1973, page 7. Al-Hakim severally criticizes the rejection of responsibilities by the leaders and the indifferences of both the leaders and the general populace to the plight of others in the society. Since no man is an island, we are all expected to be our brother's keepers. In a subtle way, Al-Hakim also derides the overblown geocentrism of certain individuals in the society. The groups of individuals who recurrently sing their own praises instead of letting others do so. The king of the cockroaches represents the group of individuals. In achieving his satiric intent, Al-Hakim combines highly comic and dark political allegory with farce. He uses the cockroaches to represent humans in passing his message across. There is a prominent use of sarcasm. The queen serves as the satiric voice of the playwright. The queen ridicules the king's feelings of self-importance and also exposes the king's inadequacies. King. Then I have a sense of organization and sound thinking. Queen. Her Majesty is primarily concerned with the practical results. I want to see the fruit of the thinking and organization. Come on, produce a solution to the problem of the ants. 1973, page 9. The play also employs satire fantasy. The queen seems to be more reasonable than all the male characters. She is highly concerned with the problem of the society and the ardent zeal of finding a perfect solution to it. In this way, she shows her supremacy over her husband. In The Song of Death, 1950, this is perhaps the most successful in the Masra plays. It centers on the conflict between traditional and modern values in the Egyptian countryside. The play takes its inspiration from the system of family, fend, and vengeance widespread in the Egyptian countryside, centering on the return of a young man, Awan, to his native village after several years abroad. Although his purpose is returning to preach a program of social reform, his family believe that he has come to avenge the killing of his father. Unfortunately for Awan, he grossly underestimates the enormity of the task he has set for himself, and more importantly, the tenacity of the culture and tradition that are drawn for generations unchecked and which may impervious to change. Coupled with this madness is a neurotic mother who wants him to avert the death of his father at all costs. She impressed it upon him that the Aziz clan is a quagmire of shame because of an unavenged death, and what has kept her alive all along is the hope of seeing the murderer receives his just reward. Al-Hakim seems to be saying that those traditions and culture which are inimical to the development of a society should be jettisoned. He also recognized the fact that changes of this kind of traditionalist, like Azake, will always be the clog in the wheel of progress. It now behoves on a would-be revolutionist to forego his plan or to forge ahead. The dangers and consequences notwithstanding, it is in this light that we see Awan. The liberal lifestyle of the city has softened his resolve to avenge his father's death. I shall tell them, when will the water jar be replaced by clean running water and electricity replace lantern? 1950, page 4. If they unite and help one another to cooperate in setting up a council from among themselves, which impose taxes on those who can pay, or to form teams of the strong, we set up bridges and construction works instead of wasting time on dissension and squabbles. 1950, page 5. Here lies the progressive vision of Awan for his people and society at large. But sadly, he fails to meet the expectation of his people, which results into a tragedy. In fact, they murder themselves to the extent that there was no male child in the family. The importance of male child is also emphasized. The play also stresses that a society could only advance if it undergo changes through proper education and enlightenment. However, a series of misunderstandings ensued, leading to Awan's death at the hands of his family, who cannot bear the disgrace of his being alive without having done his duty. The different interpretation of the purpose of Awan's return allow Al-Hakim considerable scope for fast-moving dialogue between characters, talking as cross-purposes, and the dramatic unity of the piece is reinforced by the introduction of a song from which the play takes its name at crucial points in the action. In The Tree Climber, 1962, this centers on the relationship between a man and his wife and the investigation that follows her disappearance. Eventually, the wife reappears, but her obstinate refusal to disclose where she has been drives her husband to kill her. Rational communication between the couple seems to be broken down, as each is entirely wrapped up in his or her own concerns. In a curious way, however, they succeed in understanding each other, each picking up the other phrases and applying them to their own fixations. According to Starkey, although the work is clearly indebted to absurdist theatre for its rejection of stage conventions and for its pictures of aggression in the face of the unknowable, it lacks the starkness and brutality associated with the works of Beckett on UNESCO, 2002-298. Summary. Tawfiq al-Hakim, often referred to as the father of Arabic literature, has demonstrated to us as a great dramatist of African descent by reflecting North African reality, the nature of tragedy, satire, and the absurdist generic type, all exemplified in his dramaturgy. End of study section 15. Thanks for listening.